for joining us in this conversation. Really appreciate it.
My pleasure.
So you joined Facebook Messenger last year, not long, I believe, after David Marcus, right?
Yeah.
And David Marcus obviously was president of PayPal. You were very high up at PayPal as well. So I'm sort of curious to hear, PayPal continues to do really, really well. It's still growing really, really fast. Why did you make the transition from one of the largest payments platforms to Messenger?
It's a good question. I think honest answer there would be that we did a lot in my 2 years at PayPal, and if you look into what really happened is that we grew the user base by tens of millions of dollars. We practically, one of the ways to look at that is that the management team and most of my colleagues are there right now, put it back on the map, and from the standpoint of the perception, from the standpoint of growth, from the standpoint of how much volume we are processing, all of those metrics started to trend up. And PayPal is obviously going to become an independent company, and when you're very, as you said, on the management team on a company like that, and when you achieve a bunch of goals, you look around and then you have to decide. You either stay and sign up for another 2 or 3 years and continue to crank along, or it's a natural moment for you to say, is there anything else out there that you would like to do? And if that there is, then it's a very easy way to make a transition because you sort of completed a cycle and you did what you decided to do originally when my company got bought by PayPal. And I decided to go on the second one.
That was Iron Pearl,
yes.
Okay. What do they briefly do, by the way?
That was a big data analytics company.
Got it. So let's talk about Messenger because I think many of the people in the audience are not only just familiar with it, but probably communicating with one another via Messenger as well. So 600 million monthly active users now. You introduced a voice calling feature that was introduced in April 2014, and recently Mark Zuckerberg said that voice calling on Facebook accounts for 10% of all internet voice calling.
Yep.
That's pretty huge, I'd imagine.
It's pretty good growth. We're pretty happy with that.
So I've noticed over the last 6 months or so in particular, you guys have been really on a roll with regards to features. You have opened up Messenger as a platform for third-party developers.
Yeah.
You have introduced payments to payments as a Venmo-like sort of feature. Forgive me for making a comparison. And then last week you introduced video calling.
Yep.
So how's video calling doing?
We're actually very happy with how it's shaping up. Literally in the first 48 hours since we started to enable the feature, we made 1 million 1 million video calls already.
1 million video calls
in the first 48 hours.
The first 48 hours. Got it. And to be clear, I mean, voice calling, video calling is not available in all markets yet, right? It's just 18 markets to start.
Just 18 markets to start, and you still have to upgrade your app. You know how it goes. You still have to get on the latest version in order for a video call to be enabled in your app, and that takes time as well. But we got to 1 million very, very quickly, and we were very happy. And since then, the number of calls going up, and the number of minutes in every video call is going up. So we are very happy with how it's shaping up so far.
Got it. I mean, with all these feature updates, tweaks, sort of retrofits, can you talk a little bit more about what the general strategy is for Messenger right now? Because it seems like, forgive me for saying so, but to me it seems like two things you guys are trying to do. The first is you're trying to, with payments to payments, you're trying to make it much more of a versatile utility for folks like me, and I'm 32 years old. And then it also sounds like you're trying to appeal to, frankly, a younger set. I mean, when you have, you introduced like stickers in December, and then you open it up as a platform to developers. Many of those developers seem like they appeal to a younger audience. So can you talk a little more about the strategy there?
Yeah, look, we are a fairly small team. We are just over 100 people right now. That includes everybody, product managers, engineers. And what we are trying to do within Facebook is really figure out what exactly people want to do, how they want to do it, and grow the service, serving the needs of our users wherever they are. So expressions and stickers and other stuff is very important for wide array of the people that we are talking to, and making them more expressive, giving them ability to do certain things easier. It felt like the right thing to do, so we are going in that direction. At the same time, you were saying for folks like you, we need to be core utility. We need to be able to make sure that every single message gets delivered as fast as possible, and you as a sender is confident that I, as a receiver, is reading it almost as soon as you are typing it. And that's core utility, and we're going to be focusing on that as well. But from the standpoint what works, how it works, and what doesn't, the strategy is that we're going to try a lot of things. We're going to be really quick. We're going to continue to be on a roll. As you said, we released a lot of things. We launched platform. We launched Messenger for Business. We launched Hello app. We launched video calling. We're going to continue to roll out a bunch of features going forward, and making Messenger into more and more comprehensive and complex platform. So everybody will be able to use it to the ways that they like to use it, and we will be able to solve the needs of more and more people. And I think so far it's been working great, right? So we went from less than 200 million people using it just a year ago to well over 600 million people now. So seems to be that we are getting there, and if I would have to make a bet, a bunch of people in this audience probably is using Messenger much more than they used to use it even a year ago.
Well, let me ask you about that, because I use Messenger quite a bit. Many of my communiques, professionally and personally, are on Messenger. That being said, you guys made a controversial decision, at least I think it was a controversial decision, last year to make Messenger a mandatory standalone app download. That did not go over well, at least with the media, some of the media,
right.
who felt like maybe that wasn't something that needed to be done. So talk a little bit more about that, and like why you did it, and I mean, has that hurt engagement?
So let me start from the end, from the standpoint of has it hurt engagement. Obviously it hasn't. If anything, then engagement grew up quite considerably. And remember, when we are saying we have more than 600 million monthly active users, that's people who are using monthly. These are not the people who just downloaded the app and forgot about it. These are the people who are coming back and using it monthly, and in most cases actually every single day. And so engagement went up, and that's one of the reasons why we did it. But if you think about it, this is a networking service, right? The reason why you as a sender ready to send a message to me as a receiver is because you need to know that I'm going to get it in real time, and I'm going to be able to respond to that, and I'm going to be able to self-express myself to my liking. And if it was all buried within the larger app, it was just not possible to do. Bunch of features that we are introducing today, like for example, video calling that you brought up. Right now, I'm talking to you, I want to see your face. With one tap, we can have a video conversation from wherever you are. You can be in Paris, I can be in New York, and we can be looking at whatever both of us are looking at right now. If it was, when Messenger was buried within the main app, then calling feature would be buried within the Messenger, which is buried within the main app, and then video calling would be buried within that, and it just wouldn't ever find the light of day. You would have never been thinking about that particular part of Facebook app as something that's going to get you to the point where you can actually have a video conversation with somebody. It's just not how humans process information.
So in other words, you wouldn't have reached that 1 million video calls in 2 days if Messenger were perhaps still integrated or more buried in the
I'm pretty certain we wouldn't have. And we're generally big fans of simplicity, and whenever anything gets to be very complicated, you want to go and simplify that. And simple things are things that consumers understand. Complex things, it's much harder to comprehend. And we are striving for simplicity, and that's one of the reasons why we did it.
Well, let me ask you, because David Marcus, PayPal, yourself, PayPal. That being said, you introduced the business customer service aspect, the payments to payments feature. Do you have grander ambitions of turning Messenger into a larger payments platform?
So we talked about it a bunch and pretty openly. Facebook as a company and Messenger as a division of a larger company, we have no interest of becoming a payment company. We want to figure out the best way to live in that ecosystem and partner with people who really know what they're doing, how they're doing, and build a lot of infrastructure to support that. But what we want to do is that we want to enable businesses and consumers to transact more freely and more openly and connect them this way. So whatever we can do to remove friction from those processes, we will be able to do, and we will continue to do. So if I want to send you, whatever, $10 for lunch, the most frictionless way, if you want to do it over Messenger, is the way that we think we implemented that. And we're going to go and we're going to implement that. It's the same with businesses. If you want to talk to business, we want to create the frictionless way for you to talk to that business. And that's what we are going and implementing.
Any sort of insight on how payments to payments is doing within Messenger right now? Peer-to-peer payments?
Yeah, so we are happy with how it's rolling out. It's really still small tests, still very few percentage of the population are enabled for it. But we are testing a bunch of things, we are looking at a bunch of numbers, and we're going to be opening it up. For people who are enabled for it, we're very happy with the results. But it's just a group of people who actually have that dollar sign in the tray and who can actually use it is still really, really small.
How small?
We're not talking about, but it's a very small set of people.
Got it. So 600 million plus monthly active users, 1.44. Meanwhile, Facebook has 1.44 billion monthly active users. That's a disparity right now between the 600 and the 1.44 billion. Why the disparity?
It's a good question. And it's actually yet another reason why these two need to be standalone applications. Because Facebook reached 1 billion a long time ago. And as of a year ago, only 200 million people were using messaging on Facebook because it was buried. And whenever you wanted to message to somebody, you were not thinking about Facebook app as a place to actually do that. And once we elaborated that people's desire into the standalone app, once it became its own icon on your phone, all of a sudden, a lot of growth came in. And some of that, you can argue, came from the experiences that you were describing, but from the engagement standpoint and from the standpoint of how we are looking at that, and we are obviously very data-driven and we are looking at the data every day, it came from people genuinely using it more. And using it with their friends more, and using it all over the world more. And once you start thinking about it, it went from less than 200 to well over 600 million in a year. Like, how much faster can you grow? But if we didn't do what we've done, it still would probably be too small. So the goal is, yes, absolutely, to close that gap and to get to all 1.4 and beyond of people to use messaging, but we are on a good path to get there.
Do you think, I have to nudge, do you think then, with this controversial decision to split off Messenger, do you think that any users might have been sort of rubbed the wrong way, perhaps, by the fact that there was this split? Or do you think they've come around?
From what we see, people enjoying it more and more the way it is right now. And they're spending more and more time on it, and they are talking to more and more of their friends. So the data is very supportive of everything what has been done so far.
Got it. So Facebook has another messaging app that they acquired, WhatsApp.
Yeah.
I think many people are familiar with it in the audience. They have, I believe, 800 million monthly active users. That being said, there's a bit of overlap. I'm sort of curious to hear the difference between the two, because for instance, when you rolled out voice calling into 18 markets, a few of those markets were emerging markets, some of the very same markets that WhatsApp currently addresses. So it sounds like the overlap is increasing. Could you sort of clarify where Facebook is taking the two services?
So that's actually an excellent question, and it's one of the best ways to outline how Facebook is different from most other companies. Because in any other company, if there were, or not in any other company, but in most other companies, big companies, let's put it this way, once you have two services that one might argue are doing similar things, then it would be dwarfs of people running around talking about how can we integrate them together and how it makes more sense and how it should be done and how it's going to be more effective somehow, somewhere on someone's slide. And we don't have those slides. Like, we don't have people who are doing that because we and people at WhatsApp were talking all the time, but our main goal is actually to serve our customers wherever they are. And we think that's going to be the best way to get from point A to point B. And we're trying, again, to my point I made earlier about the simplification, we're trying not to complexify our lives beyond of what we can see, which is go out there, do the best you can for the users, and everything else works out in the long run. So when we talk to our customers and they're telling us they want a certain feature, we're going to roll it out and we're not going to think twice about what it can be for what it can mean in the bigger scheme of things. And WhatsApp is operating in a very, very similar way. And I think it's working out so far, and B, in the long run, we'll see, but for now, it's working out for everybody. And honestly, I also think that messaging is the thing that it's not necessarily winner takes all, it's winner takes most. So I totally see a scenario, and it's probably true for a bunch of people in the audience. A lot of people would have both, and the switching cost is so low, so it's almost customary, and it's good user experience. If you text me in Messenger, I will reply to you in Messenger. If someone else will text me in WhatsApp, I will reply in WhatsApp, because I'm going to reply and I'm going to use the app that is easier for the sender to use. From that standpoint, it's going to be like gazillion ways for us to coexist in many places as well. We're not even thinking about it, though, because at the end of the day, if we serve our consumers well, it's going to go in the right way.
So I think our time is winding down a bit, but my last question I want to ask you about, back to video calling one more time.
Yep.
So video calling, video chat, live streaming, very hot right now. We have your apps like Meerkat, like Periscope, and granted, they are very different products, obviously.
Right.
You're one-on-one or one-on-three, depending on people could squeeze into a shot. They're broadcasting. That being said, does the Messenger team have ambitions to grow video chat, video calling, more so into that sort of realm? To like the Google Hangouts, to your Meerkat-like sort of features.
We spend a lot of time on building infrastructure for video in-house that would allow us to do a lot of things. The things that we are focusing right now is on delivering best service in video calling. And we want to make sure that we do that well, and we want to make sure that people are thinking about Messenger as a video service. Where are we going to take it from there? We don't know, really. There are a lot of ways to take it. There are group chats, for example. There are all the expressions. There are opening up video to developers. There are a lot of ways that we can take it to, and a lot of people out there in the ecosystem are experimenting with a lot of those ways, and we are looking and learning. Where we're going to take it, we don't know. We're obviously a big company, so we want to have an infrastructure that allows us to go whichever way we want to go.
So what else, video chat aside, what else can we sort of expect from Messenger throughout the rest of the year?
Well, stay tuned. We have a lot of things in works. We are a very small, very dynamic team, and we move fast. And actually, very happy with how we move.
Great. Well, looking forward to that. Thanks again, Stan Chudnovsky, Facebook Messenger, Head of Product.
Thank you,
Really
JP.
appreciate it.
Thank
Thanks.
you.